you realize you're still okay, right? If you're still here, you're okay. You're lucky to still be here, actually, with all the different things that we go through in life. I mean, we're so lucky for every moment we have, and when you realize that, you actually can use that adversity to your advantage. My name is Amy Purdy. I'm a three-time Paralympic medalist, motivational speaker, and you are watching Behind the Brand with Brian Elliott.
Well, and all the greats through history have taught that same lesson. So you're right there with them. Back to Greek philosophers. I can think of the Marcus Aurelius papers and all this, where he talks about, really you are in control of your mind. That's the really the only thing you have control over is how you react when something happens. Stuff may happen, but then you get to choose after that. You can think of all the people who've been persecuted unfairly or dealt with tragedies in their life. They have decided to say, nothing goes to waste. Even though this was hard, I'm now going to take this as a way to leverage new opportunities. And I think that's a huge lesson. Even if you're someone like me who's dealing with minuscule little problems that I'm whining about, you know.
But listen, we all do that, right? We're all human. And I think it's all relative, right? I mean, something that's major, that happened to me, there's other major things that happen to everybody. I mean, at some point, we're all faced with loss, or we're all faced with grieving something, or all faced with a sudden, I mean, right now with a pandemic, right? Sudden, major, out of our control life change that we have to pick ourselves up and keep on going. And so even though, for me, my situation, my challenges might be a little bit more visible than everybody else's having two prosthetic legs. But here's the thing, too. A lot of people think my legs are my biggest challenge, and I can't say they necessarily have been. They've challenged me in ways, and they've built me into the person who I am today. But I definitely can't say, oh, my biggest challenge is my legs. I mean, to be honest, I don't even think about them. I put my legs on and I walk and snowboard and do the same thing everybody else does. And I feel like they're a blessing, right? I'm like, thank God for these. I mean, these are incredible. So yeah, I mean, my challenges are similar to the same challenges everybody else would face, or, trying something new. When I wanted to become a speaker, like, that was a challenge. That was a lot of mistakes and a lot of nerves and a lot of insecurities and discomfort and everything that happens when you step out of your comfort zone. I mean, we're challenged every day of our lives, and it really is. It doesn't matter how big or small. It really is just, how do you approach challenge? And I think you can let it crush you, like you said, or you use it as an opportunity. And I think that's where I've appreciated challenge, or the challenges in my life, is I've always thought there's an opportunity here. I might not know it today, but I'll see it at some point, and usually I do.
So let's unpack that a little bit more, just for people who, like me, want to know. I can see in from outside looking in, with the context of, I could either die or I could lose all the things that you lost. And I can see your side of it coming out with gratitude, like, well, I could have died. It could have been worse, which would be the extreme worst case scenario. But what about people who are dealing with things that are less extreme by comparison? What's your advice about finding the gratitude as we're, eating, someone else is eating our lunch, or we're having a really tough time, or we've experienced a tragedy? How do we find the gratitude? Where do we go to get it?
I mean, first of all, I think it's something that we have to practice. And like anything, it's kind of, any kind of like mindset, perspective change or tool. It's not like it just comes. And it's not like, oh, this person was just born with it or born with a positive outlook. I think you really have to practice it. We have to remind ourselves, right, to be grateful for what we have, even though we know, things could be worse, but things could be better. We know that. I'm aware, that yeah, sometimes our situations suck. They're horrible and they're out of our control. How do you be grateful for that? But I think, when you pay attention to what you do have, I mean, that becomes your reality. Like you focus more on what you do have, and then I really believe that kind of compounds, right? And if we're focusing on what we don't have, if I focused every day of my life on what I lost, my legs, and I mean, I would not be where I'm at today. I think, I always, even the words that you use, like the words that I use, instead of saying I lost my legs, I often say I have two prosthetic legs. For me, it's a gain more than a loss. And it's just choosing to use that language. It's choosing to use more empowering language in my own life and in my own experiences. And that helps me focus on the gratitude and on the things I'm grateful for. And I do believe that when you look at the things you're grateful for, I mean, you carry yourself differently, right? You approach the world differently. You don't have as many bad days. It's very easy to have bad days. Bad things happen to us every day. You could be driving down the street and somebody cuts you off and you spill coffee all over yourself. And it's like, I mean, just that, it's like that can create a bad day. So we have to actively put ourselves into kind of a higher vibrating, I think, mindset and heart space when we enter the world, and know that challenges are going to happen, right? Days are going to be challenging. That's all there is to it. We have no idea what's coming our way. But if you're aware of that and you approach it with, looking at the positives of the day, you'll always come out on top. So I think it's something we have to actively practice. And one way that I do it is through a journal. And every morning I wake up and I don't just write the things I'm grateful for today. Well, first of all, when I do that, I feel them, right? So you want to feel what you're grateful for as you're writing it down. Don't just write down like family, husband, health. As you're writing it down, feel that. Like I'm so grateful for that. Oh my gosh, how lucky am I? And, feel those things. But then you also do another column where you share the things that you're grateful for that haven't yet happened, right? Like the things that you're striving for, like this new job, this business, or I just started a podcast. And before doing the podcast, I'm so grateful for this podcast I'm doing, almost acting as if, right? Acting as if you already have that. And all of a sudden, I mean, you start the day just feeling like, wow, I mean, I'm on top of the world. I've got everything I need to succeed, and you just got to get started.
I love that. Let's stay on that morning routine theme. So you're journaling. Do you do this in the morning or the night?
I do it in the morning because I like to start my day with that kind of sense of gratitude and almost set the tone for the day.
Yeah. What other kinds of things do you do ritualistically or like on a daily basis on the regular?
Gosh, my my rituals, I take a bath every morning. I like to sit back and think of my day. I drink coffee in the bath. I like it to be a very quiet space because, like I said, we're so busy. Our phones are ringing. We also distract ourselves even when we're not busy, right? So that's kind of my quiet time. Like, I'm not picking the phone up. I'm taking a bath. I'm starting the day feeling relaxed, thinking about the day. One thing I do is the night before, I write all my to-dos out for the next day. And then on Sundays, I write them out for the next week. And so that just helps me know, this is the game plan for tomorrow. And then I wake up knowing that instead of trying to decide the morning of, like, what am I going to do today or what things are on, my list. So by doing it the night before, I feel like it just sets me up for success the next day. But yeah, I start the day taking a bath and I journal a little bit. It just takes a couple minutes to do that, to just kind of set the tone for the day.
Well, are you writing pen to paper or is it digital? I'm curious.
You know what? Sometimes it's both. It's whatever I have next to me. So I do have a journal by the bed, but sometimes if I'm taking a bath and I just pick up my phone and I jot it down. But once again, it's not. I don't think the act of writing it is really the important part. I think it's more the act of feeling it. It's feeling it as you're writing it because you're setting those emotions in you before the day attacks you with all these other things going on, right? You're like, you are setting the tone on how you're stepping into the world.
Yeah, it's almost like reminds me of like training your brain, like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like today is going to be a great day. I'm letting you know, brain. Almost like a manifestation or putting it out there in the universe. Yeah.
I mean, and that's a great thing to do. That, a great way, even when you're journaling, is looking at the day and what you want to do, but then, write about how you did it before you actually do it, right? And it's like, what does it feel like to complete that today? That task that you've been putting off that you need to do. It's like, write down, I'm so grateful I did that today. You're setting that tone and kind of calling it before you do it, but then it also motivates you, and I think it makes you more accountable as well to get those things done.
Yeah. So we share some of these routines in common. So I'm with you on the bathing thing. I'm in the shower, but I can tell you that in some of these most unexpected times is when I get my biggest uh, pieces of inspiration. I'll be in the shower, just not thinking about anything, and then all of a sudden, like I will solve a problem I've been trying to solve, or I'll be on a bike ride or walk with the dogs. Anyway, just I'm out with nature, undistracted. But there's something about water too. It's almost like liquid healing, or it's like
It
the
is.
same kind of thing like what you feel asleep. It's like very healing and therapeutic, and so maybe that's some science that I don't understand.
Well,
But
I think what you're experiencing there, and that happens to me as well, like my best ideas come when I'm not thinking about them, when I'm in the shower or I'm blow drying my hair. Sometimes, like if I'm traveling, if I'm in an airplane, just looking out the window. And this is like a flow state thing, right? When you have no distractions. I think you're kind of on autopilot, and I feel like it opens your brain up like creatively, and all these creative juices get flowing. It's almost like, I always call it this divine download. It's like you have to set the tone for that too, right? And I've realized that if you can set aside a time, so maybe it's showering, maybe it's blow drying your hair, or it's setting aside a time with zero distractions where you can just daydream, right? Look out the window, watch people walk by, not pick up your phone when you're bored. I think when we pick our phones up, we're instantly disabling the creative parts of our brain, because that's the part that's the problem solving part, right? And that's what we need. Like, whether we're creatively trying to figure something out, like if I'm trying to write a speech and I'm like, like something's just not coming to me. It never fails that if I find myself just lost in a daydream or showering, it's right there. So that's why you should also have, a piece of paper right by the shower and just jot those ideas down when they come. Those are like, I think those are like your spirit talking. Those are those golden nuggets that if you don't grab them right in that moment, they disappear.
what is something that you believed or thought was true 5 years ago that you no longer believe? Maybe it's a business philosophy or something about yourself. Maybe you've had a significant change of mind about something.
So I don't know if this was 5 years ago that I can say, maybe like 8 years ago I had this belief, but I I really believed at one point that you either have talent or you don't. And so when I started speaking, I knew I had a story that I wanted to share. And not only a story, but things I had learned along the way. And I thought, I want to share this story. I think it can help other people. And I got invited to speak at this conference, and it really did kind of come out of the blue. Somebody had asked me if I spoke, and I think I said yeah, or I want to. And they invited me to speak at this conference, and it was in Canada, and I flew there, and I was so excited. I thought, okay, I'm doing it, right? I'm doing what I set out to do. And I got on stage, and it did not come to me. My thoughts did not come to me. This miraculous speech that I thought I was just supposed to have didn't come to me because I didn't work for it. It didn't prepare at all. I just thought, tell my story. I'm just going to tell my story and it will come. And I wanted to die. I was standing on stage. It was my biggest nightmare, 45 minutes. And I think I even said, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like I was like, I want to die right now. I mean, I don't know how I pulled it together, but I got out of there. I was so embarrassed, and I got on the plane to fly home, and I told my husband, well, I'm not meant to be a motivational speaker. I know that for sure. And I was like, I am never doing that again. And, maybe, gosh, 3 months later, after I licked my wounds and was just like, okay, pull myself together, I still had this like internal, drive. Like I really want to, I know that I can help impact people through some of the stuff that I've gone through. And so I decided to conquer it. And I read every book I could on motivational speaking, how to be a good speaker, how to put a speech together, watched TED Talks, took a college course, took Toastmasters, hired a speaking coach. And now I'm one of the top keynote speakers in the world. And what I learned is it wasn't about talent at all. I mean, if you think it's about talent, you'll never get started because you just think it's ingrained in you. But it really is about having a strong why and having the drive to actually do the work and figure it out, and also allowing yourself to not be good. In anything you try, like playing the piano, you're not going to be good for a long time. But if you believe you can learn, that's the difference between like a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. If you believe you can learn, then you will. And if you believe you can't learn, then you won't. So I think 5 years ago, 8 years ago, not five, probably more like 8 years ago, I thought, if I'm supposed to do this stuff, it's just going to come to me. It'll be natural. And I've realized that no, it's up to you what you want to do and what you're willing to work for. And you grow that entire time, and you might surprise yourself just how far you go.
That is gold. Gold. Pure gold, I'm telling you. That's so good. I will also say, without any, knowledge, I'm making some assumptions that I'll bet that entire audience was not as critical as you were on yourself. They were probably standing up, applauding, going, "That was the most amazing talk I've ever heard." But yet, you knew the truth because you have high integrity. You also knew that you were capable of much more. So I love all the lessons, but I'll just throw that in too. That I think we also, as we're being very critical, which is a good thing to do to level up our own game.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'll watch this interview back and I'll hate it. I hate the way my voice sounds. I'll hate the way I look. I'll think the questions are stupid. But one person out there will have gotten some value from this, and so it'll all be worth it. But anyway.
Well, and also, I mean, you that's what makes you good at what you do. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable with yourself and be vulnerable and look at your faults and look at the things that you can make better. I mean, I as an athlete, we have to watch ourselves back every time we snowboard, every time we're on the course, and you think you're killing it. And then you look back and you're like, I'm horrible. Like that is not how I want to look. But that right there is what makes you better, right? Is you're like, I got to work on this. I got to work on that. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable and not be good. You have to be willing to fail, and you have to be willing to suck. And you kind of have to, now what I know is go into things with a sense of play, a sense of curiosity. When you go into any kind of project or anything new or any business venture, there's a lot of pressure because you put the pressure on yourself because you want it to be good. You want to do good. You want to put good work out there. But the only way you're going to get there really is by being curious and allowing yourself to fail and not putting so much weight on it, and just have fun and just say, hey, I want to try this out and let's just see where it takes me. Like, keep that spirit, and I think you'll go much further than thinking you have to be really good from the beginning.
I'll add my 2 cents to that great advice, which is putting a caveat on that to say that we're super happy that the airline pilot, she doesn't take risks and explore while we're taking that international flight. I'm really happy she doesn't do that. That's totally okay by playing it safe and just keeping protocol. But where
Yeah.
but where there are opportunities where the benefit outweighs the risk, or the risk is not like a one and done, that is like the best advice ever. And I do think a lot of us are playing small and playing it safe. And one of my mentors, Seth Godin, said to me, Brian, the riskiest thing you can do sometimes is play it safe. And it was such an aha moment for me, like, okay, I've got to be more comfortable with, letting this be a process. No one likes to be an amateur, and especially be called out for it. But like, it sounds like you and I are kind of the same. Like, I'm very much my own worst critic, and I can tell you exactly what's wrong with me right this second. I have a whole long list of things that I want to change and improve. But I do have a learner's mindset, and I do want to get better. Maybe this last question, as we've finalized this, you've been through a lot, more than most, and you're humble to say that people have it worse than you. I would never want to compare scars. We've shared off camera a little bit about my emotional trauma. It's probably more of a little T than a big T. You've been through a big T, physically and emotionally, I'm sure. At this point now, though, with all this life experience and this under your belt, what are you afraid of?
I'm afraid of not reaching my potential. I think that's my biggest fear, and then also what drives me the most.
I mean, we were just sitting back, chopping it up, reminiscing about the good old days and all that. Tracking my roots, where I came from and where I'm going. But like I say, man, always said it. It's not about the destination. It's all about the journey.